Hi, my name is Ebert, and this is episode 12, I think, of my series for building a timesheet, time tracking application with Hypermedia. Um, the last time I did this, I started working on this interface you see here on the left, and currently just did this front end. And today I'm gonna try to basically like add more stuff to this interface and make it more usable, and kind of see how far I can get with that. Um, if you are watching this on YouTube later, then there's in the description of this video there should be links to pull requests that I've made for this episode, so it might be a lot easier to read along. Yeah, so let's get started. So really the first thing I need to do here is I want to just show a list of entries. And then maybe I'll start with a week number because it's kind of fun, just to kind of some low-hanging fruit at first. So yeah, I'm gonna go do that. Keyboard's a little awkward for me. I switched to a much quieter keyboard compared to my normal keyboard. My normal keyboard is like insanely loud key switches, and because I never expected that I would use it with other people in the room. But I got some complaints for the stream that it's just like overwhelms my voice apparently. So I switched to this flimsy Raspberry Pi keyboard, which is a lot more quiet, but yeah, I'm kind of need to warm up to it. So the main component we're looking at here is, I'm pretty sure it should be in the person. Yes, there it is. The person page. Here we go. So there's a weekly entries tab and an edit tab. So let's go to the weekly entries. So over here we have week 9, 10, and 11. So I think this seems like a good place to make this dynamic. So I think for starters, we just want to get basically the date of what we're looking at right now. So to do that, I need a library to handle dates. So maybe I already have it in here. No, it doesn't look like it. Okay, so Moment is a very popular library, but it's kind of deprecated at this point, and I think partially is just because of the time it was made, and the authors of Moment decided like it wasn't worth trying to make this work in kind of modern environments. So if you use Moment, basically it's really crazily inflates your JavaScript output. So instead of trying to fix Moment or release a breaking version, they started a new project called Luxon. So that's the one I'm going to be using. Declared but never read. Makes sense. So the date, because it's changeable, we want to put it in a use state. Oh, and actually it's a week. So that's kind of interesting. So maybe, I guess it still makes sense to just use it as a date, or does it not? Let me think. Basically, I have two choices. Either I store the week number, that seems kind of simple, or I store the date. Yeah, I think I'm going to go with a date object because based on, this date object, I'm going to want to figure out what the start of the week is and the end of the week. So we'll make calculations a little bit easier. And also, I think week numbers are actually kind of a little bit hard to calculate. Some years are going to have 53 weeks just based on how the days fell. Yeah, so let's do that. So current date, set current date, use state, and I'm pretty sure I can give this a function because I don't want to. So whatever we pass to it is the initial status, or the initial state, and I would like to do it in a function because I need to do some math, and I only want to do that the first time. Okay, let's see error now. Could not find a declaration file. Oh, okay, I would have expected Luxon to be in TypeScript, but it's not. So let's also get a types package for it. I think that's it. So now we get a date reference and it goes to the start of the week. So now here, let's see if this works. Week number. Okay, this feels like it's going well. Let's see if that actually worked. Okay, let's make sure we are actually running our dev server. Yeah, that appears to be the case. I feel like it's too unlikely that we are in week 10. Week 10, let's see. Does that make sense? Could we be in week 10? Did I just like my dummy numbers? Were they just like lucky? Yes. Okay, it's funny. I thought we were in compiling, but it turns out we're in week 10. I think I've set this week 10 number as an example week number 2 weeks ago, so I guess I predicted correctly. Cool. So then this one will be current date week number -1. And this one will be current date dot week number +1. Okay, nothing changed. Cool. Cool. And now I'd like to be able to change the week number. Let's do that. So maybe I can actually turn this. Should I turn this into a small component? Does that make sense? Kind of makes sense to me. So let's do that. Function week selector date time. You know what? For now, I'll just do a little bit of copy pasting here. Week decrease. And week increase. So when we're decreasing, we just need to create a new date time. So that is the current date. Decrease is not in here. Let's see. Okay, gonna have to find some documentation. Math, is that what we're looking for? Plus. Oh, okay, they use the word plus for this. So minus probably, yep, 1 week. Let's see if that works. Does it like that? Expected 1 argument, so we got 2. Okay. Oh, I guess this wants an object, so that's cool with me. Object literal must blah blah blah. That's sad. Okay. Oh, wait a minute. Is this better? No, it doesn't like it. Let's just get some better errors in here. Oh, okay, I messed up the arguments. That makes sense. Weeks, and then 1. Minus 1 week. Okay. Now I just got to do the same thing for the decrease. Or increase. There. Void is not assignable. I think I shouldn't call these functions. I should pass them. Yeah. Okay. Let's see if that worked. Yeah, it does work. Okay, I don't like the mouse cursor. Can we change that? Maybe I just need to change it to a button because I don't really like using A tags for things that aren't links. Cool. Okay, so that's good. That works. So what's next? Next, I'd like to start showing some entries. Or maybe actually, should I start doing the backend for this? Nah, maybe not. Okay, so let's just do some entries. So here's a list of entries, and now let's start making an actual list here. So I'm thinking this is a table because the entries have a whole bunch of information associated to them, and table just feels like it makes the most sense. Cool. Class table. Classic. Ooh, striped is nice. Look at that. Bordered. Okay, I also like that. Hoverable. What does that even mean? Oh, I guess that's nice too. Tiny table. Responsive tables. How would that even work? Oh, just does horizontal scrolling. Okay. Okay, let's do it. So we're gonna start with a table, class table, for some reason. So what do we want? Striped or bordered? I think I want striped. And let's see ahead. I don't know what the scope is for. Actually, I never heard of this. No, can we get like an official? Yeah. The enumerated attribute defines the cells that a header relates to. It may have the following values or row call. Okay, then but why? Why is it in here? Maybe it just has to do with accessibility. Okay, well let's just keep it in there. Project. What other information do we have for our time entries? Localhost. So we have a description, date, minutes, billable, create app, modify that. So don't care about these two. Billable, maybe I don't care yet. I think the most important thing is that we have project in there. We have date in there. Date actually, wait, do we need date? No, date could be in here, in this kind of area. And then... So the most important thing is actually project, minutes, description. Okay. So we store minutes in the API because it felt like a natural kind of value to store, because hours is a little bit too not precise enough, because sometimes you work on something for half an hour and we definitely don't need to track seconds. So minutes seemed like a good compromise here. And I prefer to use integers whenever I can, instead of like, if I did hours, I could have done 0.5 hours, for instance, but sometimes you get some weird side effects with floating point math. So I wanted to make sure that we have something that's like divisible and whole numbers and aren't too small. So I went for minutes. However, in the front end, I don't think it's the most natural denomination to use. So I think in the front end, I do want to display this as hours. So if it's 90 minutes, I want it to show 1.5. But I'm only going to do that conversion from minutes to hours at the very last moment. So and every other part in the application minutes gets sent around. So the showing hours is a display concern for me, and that kind of removes most of the issues around the math with floating points. Because as soon as the user has typed in whatever the hours were, then we're instantly converted to minutes. So to give this some flair, I can actually just use the data. Maybe that's a fun idea. So I won't filter it down, and I'll just show. My API currently has 2 entries that I use for testing, and I'll just let every day just show the same 2 entries for now. So you have some real data to work with. So the resource we want to pass is going to be where this. Oops, sorry. This person weekly entries gets a resource, but it refers to this person, this resource slash person slash one. I want the entries to have a reference to this one. So I basically want to pass entry collection this resource to it. And yeah, this is the wrong syntax. This needs to be resource state. Cool, so that's good. Next thing I'm going to, yeah, maybe I should pass this date a little bit differently. Can I just do date? That makes a little bit more sense to me as well. And then we'll pass a Luxon datetime object. And there's also, I think it's just right about time now to not copy the same line of code 7 times. We just make a little loop here. Let me think. When we wanted to inline this, then can I create a loop here that with array functions? Just kind of thinking out loud here. Let me see if that works. What if I do? This feels very silly. New array 7 gives me 7 empty items. And can I then map over that with a value and an index? Still says 7 empty items. That's not fun. So I guess does map not do what I think it does in this case? This is really weird. Okay, so this works. So wait, map skips empty items, but it does retain them. That's very surprising. Okay. Okay, then I'm gonna have a really stupid way to do this. I'm gonna do something like this and then loop over that. It is what it is. Only need 6. Map value and then entry day date equals current date plus 1 day. So don't need this anymore. Oh yeah, I also want to pass this resource. Let's do that as well. So now this is erroring because we no longer have access to the day. So let's do date dot day weekday. Weekday long. That sounds good. Tuesday. They're all Tuesday. Look at that. We got our little table in here. I feel like this, I'm going to still consider this progress. Okay. Pretty funny on the weekday though. So what's happening here? Oh, current date plus days needs to be current days plus value. There we go. Now we're cooking. And that means that we can also add the actual dates in here now. It's been a long time dream. Let's see, month, long, and the date. Day, month, day? No. Day, month? Maybe it says day. I guess day makes sense. Yay. Okay. Is there an... Oh, there's probably no ordinal function for this. Is not Lutron. That's a video game thing. Lixon. Ordinal. Oh, interesting. So I guess ordinal has different meanings in dates. I didn't know that. Okay, so it doesn't have a feature for that, it seems. Function ordinal number. Oh yeah, input number, output string. Oh, actually, I should have just copied this function. These do not need to be constants. Okay. Okay, the last digit is also an easier way to get that. And this one is not a constant, even though it doesn't get changed. Okay, well, whatever. Hee. There we go. Cool, seems to work. There's definitely a lot more stuff that needs to happen, I think, in this general interface to make it easier to find certain weeks, and yeah, it's a work in progress. Cool, so now we got these entries. I'm just gonna actually make a new directory for this, timesheet. And this person weekly entries can move to the timesheet component. Because I have a little bit more room for activities here. Because specifically I'd like to, this file is getting a little large, and I want to move the entry day to its own thing. There. Okay, next. Yeah, like I said, I'd like to just use the same collection, all the entries that are in here for every day for now, because then it's nicer to work with real data. And we'll kind of do the filtering a little later because we need more backend changes for that. So we're already getting a resource with the information, with the actual collection. So that means that I should just be able to do this. Items loading error equals use collection props.resource. Each collection is going to have a time entry. At least I think that's what I called it. Let's see if that's correct. Maybe it's just called entry. Let's see if that works first. Yep, looks better. Cool. So this returns the typical 3 things from many of the hooks. So first thing is we want to return something if it's loading. and we want to do something if there's an error. In the future, I think I'd like to find a way to generalize errors and loading handling, or make a nice spinner and stuff. But for now, I'm just inlining most of these things because I don't. Yeah, right now would be distraction to focus on all that stuff. Oh yeah, I'm so used to strings. So now if we made it all to this line, it means that we're no longer loading, there was no error, which means that we should have a list of items. So we're gonna do that next. I'm assuming we want T body, yes. T body. And each item is going to we're going to use its own component for each item. Entry refers to type, but it's only used here as a value. Yeah, that's the collision. Okay, let's see a really ugly name. Entry day. Day entry? No. Entry day item. Sorry. I tend to, yeah, usually if there's components that I'm only using the same file, then usually I don't export them, or if they're only using one file, I don't export them and keep them in the same file until it gets unwieldy, and then I kind of give them their own file. But for now, this is just going to be in the same file. I don't expect this to be used somewhere else, and if it does, refactoring is cheap. Cool. I'm going to be a little lazy. I just want to do something very similar here. So instead of use collection, we use resource. This collection always is about list of things, and then once we drill down to specific items in that list, we need to use resource. Cool. So which columns do we have? We have project, hours, and description. Minutes divided by 60. So this could give us a float. So let's do 2 fixed with 2 digits. Let's see, let me think. If we have 1.5 hours, do we want 1.5 hours? Do we want 1 hour and 30 minutes? I don't know, not sure. But for now, this is how it's going to be. And lastly, the description. How does this look? There you go. It's working. And it doesn't look terrible. Cool. So next one, I need to get access to project. So project is a little trickier because here we let me go to this specific entry. So this is an example of an entry that our API returns. So kind of see some of the properties here, like minutes and date and description. However, project is not listed as a property; it's listed as a link. So normally, there's two ways to do this. Is like I can actually follow this link and then use another use resource statement to get to it, but it's kind of annoying. So what I can also do is I can just extract this title. To do that, I need to make a small change here. So resource state is very similar to data, but it has a lot of bonus data information in there. So data is kind of like a quick way to get access to just the properties. But if you need something more, then you need resource state, and resource state has all the links, and yeah, has a lot of other features, advanced features. So for project, I think we should be able to get access to it now. So project name is resource state.links.get. So I want access to this link. So that's the string I'm using. And from that link, I want the title. So we're getting an error now because links might not exist, so there's no guarantee. So there's a couple of things we can do. We can either assume the link is always there. I don't like doing that. But this is one way to just like have basically tell TypeScript, I know for sure the link is going to be there. Another thing you can do is do a question mark. And then what happens now is that if the .get here, so this part, if they returned undefined, then it won't do this part. So basically project name could be undefined now, and this is a bit safer because if for some reason later down the road there's no that project name link was missing, then we basically can safely recover from that. If I use the exclamation mark, we're basically telling TypeScript, I know better, the project is always there, and if it isn't there in the future, then suddenly we get a fatal error. So this is the safe one in this case. I can also make this even better and just do something like this. Yeah, I might as well keep this in. I think it's very unlikely this will actually pop up, but now there's always going to be some string here and never just an empty box. So how does that look? Yay. Cool. I'm not super excited about this specific interface. I don't know if this is actually going to be kind of nice to use or not. But yeah, in the interest of just kind of moving forward and just get to a point where the application works, I think is the most important thing. And then as soon as this is functional, MVP or something, then that's a better time to start making improvements, I think. So the biggest thing, use case I want to fulfill now is allowing a user to do their entries, and then the next use case after that will be to have another user extract reports, monthly reports for billing. And once those two basic use cases are covered, then I think it's an excellent time to start thinking about user experience. Nadanam asked, is there a reason to use data if resource state exists and has more features? I think the only reason is that it's shorter. And I find that there's a lot of cases where you have very small read-only components. And but yeah, if you're using resource state, then already, then it might make less sense. You can also import them both, so it's not like they're mutually exclusive. But really, all the data is a shortcut to resource state .data. Okay, so I think maybe the next step is to, how far are we in time-wise? Okay, I think I have a little bit more time. Yeah, maybe it's a nice time to have some editing in here. I hope it's not going to be a huge time sink, because I want to try to keep these episodes under an hour. Actually, yeah, maybe I'll just like stop here, and then if I still feel like doing more, I'll just start my next episode. Might be on the same day, who knows. Yeah, so thank you for watching. And again, if you're interested in this work, then this should be on the YouTube description. There should be a list of pull requests with all the changes I've made today. And yeah, maybe see you next time. Bye.